This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
If you include Monday's loss to the Philadelphia Phillies and you put today's loss right next to it, this is probably the most frustrating series loss for our Milwaukee Brewers that I can remember in quite some time. They fall to the Phillies this afternoon at American Family Field, a final score of 2-0. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Brewers postcast. My name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Brandon_Snide. Follow all of my work over at WTMJ.com, where we cover all of our Wisconsin sports teams. As always, the Locked On Brewers postcast is free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts: Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get audio podcasts, you can listen to this very program. And we are also free and available over on YouTube. Just go to that search bar, type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button for me, hit that notification bell, hit that thumbs up on the videos for me, and make sure you follow us along. We're also over on social media at Locked On Brewers. Tough one today for our Milwaukee Brewers. We mentioned it at the beginning of the show, a 2-0 loss to the Phillies. Not only a 2-0 loss, but they lose 2 out of 3 games in this series. So we'll talk about the pitching today for our Brewers. All pitching, no hitting is the theme of today's program. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position this afternoon for the Brewers bats. We'll discuss that. I'm sure a lot of you will have thoughts and feelings and reactions, opinions on today's loss to Philadelphia. We'll get to all of that as well. Let's get into your scoring summary today, brought to you by FanDuel and 5 Hour Energy. 2-0 loss, guys. Not a whole lot of scoring, but the turning point in today's game happened before there was any scoring in a 2-0 loss.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Bottom of the 6th inning, man. A golden opportunity. A 0-0 game, keep in mind, at this point in the 6th inning. And we'll talk about the start from both Freddy Peralta and Ranger Suarez for Philadelphia. Bottom of the 6th inning, there was no runs. 0-0 ball game. The Brewers had runners in scoring position on second and third base, unable to get a run in with guys on second and third base with no outs in the bottom half of the 6th inning. You knew right then and there that was a missed opportunity. And it didn't take long for Philadelphia to capitalize on the Brewers' mishaps offensively. The Philadelphia Phillies right away at the top of the 7th inning, Trey Turner, an 0-2 splitter, belts it into to left center field. That would score Alex Bohm, and the Phillies would take the 1-0 advantage earlier in that at bat. Bohm doubling to right field, putting himself in scoring position. And you knew right then and there, when you weren't able to score those runs, at least a run in the bottom half of the 6th inning, when you had guys on second and third base, and then right away the Philadelphia Phillies were able to poke a run in the 7th inning. And you knew the vibe of this game, the energy, the flow of this game, where there wasn't a whole lot of offense for either one of these teams, right? That's the first run of the game, as we were talking about in the top half of the 7th inning. The Brewers with 7 hits today, the Philadelphia Phillies with 6. But the biggest hit for the game was the 7th inning from Trey Turner. And again, off of the arm of Tobias Myers, an 0-2 splitter, down in the zone, very, very down in the zone. Give credit, unfortunately, where credit is due. Trey Turner, that's why the guy, wins batting titles. That's why he's one of the best players in baseball, poking in a run for the Philadelphia Phillies in the 7th inning. Nothing for either one of these teams in the 8th inning. And then Bryson Stott in the 9th inning for Philadelphia, batting in a run to right field. That would be a double, and that would score Harrison Bader. That would be all that they would need, a 2-0 advantage to the bottom half of the 9th inning for our Brewers, and absolutely nothing offensively for this team. Let's get quickly into the starting pitching today, because I thought, again, it was a great start from Freddy Peralta for our Milwaukee Brewers. Now there, you can nitpick it a little bit. 5 innings pitched today for Freddy Peralta, just 2 hits allowed in this ball game. Nothing crossing the plate for Freddie, striking out 8 batters. And again, nothing crossing the plate. 29 scoreless innings for Freddy Peralta, who has been dynamite over the stretch of the last 6 weeks or so, going on 6 weeks. Freddy Peralta just absolutely lights out in August, and he's starting off September in the same fashion. So a big round of applause for Freddy Peralta. 92 pitches thrown over just 5 innings. And if you want to nitpick it a little bit, we've talked about the taxing that this bullpen has been taking. Part of that is starting pitching just unable to go late into games. And I know they're trying to limit, the innings from Freddy Peralta as we kind of near playoff baseball and we start talking about clinching a playoff berth and eventually clinching the National League Central Division. But the Cubs not in action today, so the Brewers actually dropping a half a game in the standings, 5.5 games up on the Cubs as we enter Friday's action with the Brewers in Pittsburgh and the Cubs welcoming in the Washington Nationals, I believe, to Wrigley Field. But again, overall, solid performance from Freddy Peralta. You would like, again, to see these pitchers, be a little bit more consistent and going deeper into ball games. Freddy just going 5 innings. And on the other end, Ranger Suarez, who gets the win today for Philadelphia, has been fantastic all year long, 11-6 for them on the year. He goes 6 strong. No runs, as we've mentioned, the Brewers being shut out at American Family Field, striking out 4 on his way to his 11th win. The Brewers falling to 86-55, and there are some question marks surrounding this team and the lineup that was put out. I'm going to be honest, in April, in May, I may have had a little bit more gripes with the lineup. I've stopped really kind of caring about the lineup that the Brewers have kind of thrown out there because they've proven me wrong enough times this year where I kind of bite my tongue a little bit. But you knew it wasn't going to be a great lineup. Again, the Brewers getting into an off day on Tuesday. Now they're back into, typically Thursday is usually that off day, a quirky schedule for the Brewers. They'll go right out to Pittsburgh after this game this afternoon and get ready for a series against the Pirates. But I know there's a lot of gripes when it comes to the lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers. No Christian Yelich. We didn't see Bryce Terrain start a game. We didn't see Sal Frelick in this game. They eventually had pinch hit appearances, but Danny Jansen behind the plate this afternoon. William Contreras did get 3 at-bats as the DH. But again, I don't really think it matters who you have out there in the lineup. You had opportunities in the course of this game. The Brewers, that is, the offense, that is, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Just a pitiful performance. Runners on second and third base. Guys, you got to get a run in. You have to get a run in that situation. I don't care how you do it. You got to get it done. A soft ground ball to second base, a lazy fly ball to short center field. I mean, just a pitiful performance at the plate for this Brewers team. They left 8 guys on base. And on the flip side, again, not the greatest performance from Philly either, but they do just enough to get, to get the win. 2 for 11 were the Philadelphia Phillies with runners in scoring position. And obviously the biggest one of the game was that 7th inning. That would have been all they needed had they not scored again in the 9th. But the 1-0 advantage in the 7th inning. And again, credit to Trey Turner for being able to, poke a run in when on a pitch that was not a strike, that would not have been called a strike. I don't even know how he got the barrel on the ball, but he did. So you got to give credit where credit is due, unfortunately, in that one. But again, Brewers had the pitching today. They had the pitching. They did not have the hitting. All pitching, no hitting, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They do lose the series at American Family Field to the Philadelphia Phillies, but it is worth noting they have won 4 out of 6 against this Phillies team that could be important down the line when it comes to top record in the National League. We'll see how that plays out. But the Brewers losing this series, but do win the season series against the Philadelphia Phillies. 86-55 now are our Brew Crew. After today's loss, they'll begin a series with the Pirates on Friday evening. I know there's some of you lined up on the YouTube live chat. I know some of you are fired up. I know some of you are angry, and I cannot wait to see some of your reactions. We'll dive into all of that coming up after this. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This great ginger lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the golf course or if you're like me, you just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. It is absolutely fantastic, super good, and golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without ever leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. Now you can amp up for even more fun. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the United States. This does exclude the Masters tournament. Tee up for that trip. Visit 5hewin.com. Once again, 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Once again, that website, guys, 5hewin.com. Today's program also brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Whether you're in queue, you're in login screens, surprise fees, it takes all of the fun out of buying those tickets. And that's why I personally use Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It is fast. It is easy. It is backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included. So the price you see is actually the price you pay. There are no surprises. You know your total up front. And again, no surprises at the checkout. Download the Gametime app today. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download the Gametime app today. A tough one for our Brew Crew, a 2-0 loss to the Philadelphia Phillies at American Family Field. The Brewers with 7 hits on the day, but 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Freddy Peralta tossing 5 scoreless innings. We mentioned it, 29 scoreless straight innings for Freddy. The Brewers with a golden opportunity, a few golden opportunities in this game, but none better than in the 6th inning. That was our turning point in today's game. Guys on second and third base, and they could not score a run. Do I think the game changes if the Brewers are able to plate a run or two? I absolutely do. And unfortunately, in the 7th inning, the Philadelphia Phillies would get the run across the plate off the bat of Trey Turner with a single to left center. They would also plate another one in the 9th, and that would be all for the Brewers. An appearance out of the bullpen from Aaron Ashby, Tobias Myers, who technically takes the loss today, Rob Zastrinsky, and old friend Yoel Payamps back in a Brewer uniform, giving up a run there as well in the 9th inning. A tough one, certainly for the Brewers. They do lose the series, as we have mentioned, but they do secure the season series against the Phillies, and that could come into play big time for the Brewers as we inch closer to the playoffs. Your thoughts, your reactions. Unfortunately, today, no celebrations, but I'm going to take a guess. There's going to be some frustrations today, so I will air it out for you. This is your therapy session in a 2-0 loss to the Phillies. Every day, or GCAP starting us off. If I had $1 for every runner left on base, I would have been able to sign Adames for $1 billion. I'm generally going to rip my hair out if we keep this up. Better start running some ads for him. It's been frustrating. It certainly has been uncharacteristic from what we've seen, from this team over the last 2 or so months. It seemed to have happened more times as of late, and certainly you don't want it to continue going through September. The Cubs, again, we mentioned it. This was going to be an interesting part of the schedule for both of these teams. The Brewers had an opportunity to bury this Chicago Cubs team in August, failed to do so. They lost 3 out of 5 in Chicago in that 5-game series. You kind of gave a little bit of life to the Cubs. And again, schedules for both of these teams, completely different ends of the spectrum. The Brewers do go to Pittsburgh this weekend. The Cubs hosting the Nationals, and they will begin Friday with a 5.5-game lead in the division. John, over on YouTube, 2nd and 3rd, no outs, and can't bunt the runner across. William Contreras was at 3rd at the time. I don't know if that would have been the play. Certainly, knowing what we know now, if you ask manager Pat Murphy, maybe that might have been something. But the last thing I think anybody needs, certainly on this team, when you don't have Yelich, you have him scratched. Hopefully you see him this weekend with back soreness, is a play at the plate that involves your all-star catcher, one of your best pieces offensively, to go down with an injury just to get a run across the board. So I don't think that would have been the play, but it wouldn't have hurt for one of those guys. I'm trying to remember. I know, I think it was Andrew Monasterio. Maybe it was Danny Jansen. Maybe it was that part of the lineup for the Brewers, Caleb Durbin as well, that just could not get a run across for our Brewers. And it was definitely frustrating, but it's, again, I don't think it's not who this team is. This loss doesn't define them. It's frustrating. It's a frustrating series loss, but I still believe in this team. I believe they'll find a way to get it done. And the reason I say that, guys, is because they have found a reason and found ways to get things done. So we can't doubt them. We can be frustrated, but I don't think at this point in the season we can doubt them. Jacob over on YouTube, this team is much better than what I saw today. They just can't be going to what I call the land of missed opportunities. And that perfect comment, because that literally echoes kind of what I feel too. It's frustrating. Do not get me wrong. This was a very frustrating series because I thought every single one of these games, and you won on Wednesday, but I thought every single one of these games were winnable, right? Like certainly was winnable. You were up 5-1 on Monday evening or Monday afternoon, and you lost that game, right? And there was some controversy at the end with Jim Wolf. And funny enough, Jim Wolf today on the base pass wasn't afraid to call check swings apparently today, but didn't on Monday. So the Brewers lost that one in frustrating fashion. You win Wednesday, and then you play today, and you win a game that was 0-0 in the 7th inning. I mean, it was a very, very winnable game, a very, very sweepable series against this Philadelphia Phillies team, again, who's one of the best teams in baseball along with the Brewers, but it was super frustrating. I have no doubts about, anybody that feels that way, but again, we kind of had this discussion. I believe it was on Monday that this is still the best team in baseball, guys. Like other teams right now are trying to catch the Brewers, right? They're trying to play catch up to our Milwaukee Brewers. And think about it. Think about all the frustrating losses we've had in the last, couple of weeks, right? We talk about that Chicago series, and we talk about the Giants series and the Arizona series, both of those at American Family Field. And then certainly this one you can put in the mix as well. The Brewers just not protecting home field as of late in the way that they have all season long, 46-26 now at home. But, it wasn't too long ago that was a much better record. So we can be frustrated. We can be upset. But keep in mind that every team on September 4th going into September 5th is still catching, or at least trying to catch, our Milwaukee Brewers. Everydayer Nick over on YouTube, like an engine that won't start, sputter, sputter, sputter. All the spark plugs need to be in the lineup or it doesn't work. Second best team in National League, and they fought. All's not lost. Let's go Brew Crew. Again, that's the second best team in the National League, and the Brewers probably should have swept that series. And I know that probably and isn't a term that, that we can use in sports that necessarily makes any of us feel better. But the Brewers were right there in each one of these games. Obviously, you win last night on Wednesday, 6-3. But then Monday, again, we talked about that one. And then today, a very, very winnable game for our Milwaukee Brewers. Charles echoing the most frustrating point of the day. He's over on YouTube. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Danny Jansen was 0 for 2. Andrew Monasterio was 0 for 3. Blake Perkins was 0 for 2. William Contreras 0 for 1, and Caleb Durbin 0 for 2. All of those guys with runners in scoring position. That's the difference in your ball game. That's the difference. One of those guys delivers a big hit, whether it's that 6th inning or it's earlier in the game. Big hit, a 2-run RBI single. I mean, changes everything going forward for this team. Charles also saying, really missed Yelich, Terrain, and Frelick in the lineup. Other people have to step up, though. And they have, right? They have for most of the year. And that's where I pause. Like, Charles, you tell me this lineup in April, early May, mid-May, maybe late May into June, I'm probably yelling on this microphone, and you guys are going to have to calm me down. Like, I've kind of given up worrying about the lineup. Is it the sexiest lineup we've seen rolled out from Murph? No, it's not, right? And trying to buy a day off with another series coming right up tomorrow, for guys like Sal and Bryce, and obviously Christian Yelich with the back soreness. I've stopped kind of worrying about that, who's in and who's out, who's not, because I've done it before and it's bit me in the backside before, and this team has proven me wrong. So again, it's just, hopefully going forward, they're able to get it done with whoever's in that lineup, because I say that because they have. And that's the one thing that we can't really argue about. Tom, over on YouTube, glad the Brewers got out ahead this season to afford the bad luck and the slumping. Hopefully this is just a rougher stretch for our Milwaukee Brewers. They still have a lead, a good, I would say, comfortable lead in the National League Central Division. You're not going to see the Cubs anymore this season. And again, just about, I think there's 21 games now left in the season, if my math off the top of my head is correct, for the Brewers, and a 5.5 game lead in the National League Central Division. Cody over on YouTube, when this team hits the low, it's low and pathetic. When they get hot, they get hot. But today, this series was pathetic. Pitching stunk Monday. The hitting was pathetic today. We kind of talked about it a lot in the past, that those proverbial stars, Pat Murphy had talked about it, like not everything kind of lining up together, right? And it certainly did over the 11-game win streak. It certainly did over the 14-game win streak. And really, since like the second week in June, it has sort of lined up, but this was a perfect example of those stars, as Cody mentions over on YouTube, a perfect example of those stars not lining up and losing games in a very frustrating manner, because Monday was winnable. Today was certainly winnable. Freddy Peralta pitched a gem. You give credit to Ranger Suarez. The Brewers had a handful of hits against them. They just couldn't get that big hit, and that's the unfortunate reality, is it would have only taken that one Trey Turner single to win this game, because that's all the Brewers could get was threats on the base pass. 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. We mentioned it, leaving 8 guys on base. So certainly a frustrating one for our Milwaukee Brewers, but I still have hope for this team. This team has proven us, I say us, maybe it hasn't proven you wrong. It's proven me wrong all year long, but this is a team that I still believe in. They're still not fully healthy. We talked about Christian Yelich, Trevor McGill, obviously working his way back from injury as well. Shelby Miller is done for the year with the injury that he sustained, the elbow injury. So it's a team that has battled injuries. It's a team that has battled adversity. It's a team that has battled pretty much everything throughout the course of a season, including 19 games in 18 days, and are still finding ways to get it done. So I won't doubt them just yet, but I do, there are some worries, going forward. Michael over on YouTube, Cubs have had the easiest schedule and still managed to trail in the National League. And the Brewers have had one of the harder schedules, not only opponent-wise, but we mentioned it, 19 games in 18 days. And you can end with this, that they are still chasing our Milwaukee Brewers. The Cubs are chasing the Brewers. The Phillies are chasing the Brewers, still controlling our own destiny. We're not even 100% healthy yet. And I still think the best baseball for this team lies ahead of them, even after that 14 and 11 game win streak. I think this team, Jose Quintana mentioned it last night, this has been a bigger pitcher team. They're going for a bigger pitcher. I know it's a frustrating series. It's a frustrating way to lose ball games 2-0 and 10-8 after you were up 5-1 in the game. But the team has bigger aspirations, and hopefully they can get through this little slump that they have been in, and we'll see if they can pick things back up tomorrow against the Pittsburgh Pirates, the other team that resides in the state of Pennsylvania. So we'll talk about the Brewers and Pirates after game one, after the last out. My thanks to each and every one of you. Thank you guys for always tuning in. Thank you for making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. Once again, free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts, Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get audio podcasts, you can download the Locked On Brewers postcast as well, and everything over on YouTube. Maybe you prefer to see my pretty face or ugly face over on YouTube. We are free and available on YouTube as well. Go to that search bar, type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Get notified when we go live, and we'll pick things back up tomorrow after the Brewers and Pirates in game one. My name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me over on X, formerly Twitter, at Brandon_Snide, and we will talk to you tomorrow. A tough series loss for the Brewers, a tough one today, a 2-0 loss, but win, lose, or draw, it is always go Brewers. Have a good one, everyone. See you.